So I just changed the screen I'm working off of. Dude, if I had to work off of just one screen, as much as I have different spreadsheets and windows open across different shit, I wouldn't be able to get anything done.
I'm the same way. I got a giant screen. I got a little screen next door. Jason, computer just blue screen. Is that me? Jason's out of the stream. So, Larry, what's up? What are you doing this morning, sir?
This morning?
Yes, sir.
As we get off of this call, I've got to call a seller. We need to get the lender, try and get the lender on the phone, working on subject 2. And that one just popped up yesterday. It's one of those deals, just like drop everything, try and get it done. It's going to the auction Tuesday. So this is a weird one for me. Everybody's alive. It's owner occupied. So I'm used to doing, the more messed up stuff, but it works out nicely as a subject 2.
Well, that's real good. I'm looking for my paperwork right now. So I had some. I'm trying to get my driver's license straightened out.
I heard they made that a little bit tougher to renew. You got to have your birth certificate and some other crap. I don't know.
Yes, well, those are all facts, but you also got to not have warrants. So
that would be helpful. I could see that.
I don't know what I did. I guess I just threw away my paperwork for my court that I was supposed to go to in Mahia, which means I basically threw away an opportunity to make $1,000. So all I do is go over there and be like, hey, I need to see the ticket. The ticket's so old, they don't have it. And the prosecutor throws it out. But if I don't know when to show up. Oh, here we go. Found it. Yeah.
Well, do you have are you like protesting it basically, or you're going to show up for a court date? When's that?
Yes. Yeah, that's all. So I have traffic fines literally from 2003.
Oh, hell.
But in the old system, when you'd pay them, you'd get surcharges, and then the surcharge would mount up. So it was just like this never-ending cycle where there was no way to pay your way out of it. It's just easier to get an occupational license and roll with it. So we just did that. And anyways, now they've lifted the surcharges in Texas to where no longer have surcharges. So I got to go pay all these tickets, which paying them ain't that big a deal. But I mean, if you drive 12 miles and you like this one right here by itself is $544. This other one's $544 or 2 different tickets. Where am I going to make $1,000 on Friday in an hour?
Well, that's not a bad deal.
So showing up is well worth it. Spoonie, you're back.
Yeah. There he is.
I know what got you, Spoon, and you don't have to admit it on the internet. You don't have to admit it. But that chick put that Pornhub check in the group yesterday, and you Googled that guy down and watched all 71 of his videos.
I don't know what you realize. I'm gonna go find out here in a minute. I don't. It's pretty funny.
Somebody posted a link in the group.
No, this really hot chick posted a check, a porn, like you know how people post checks in real estate groups. She posted a Pornhub check from Pornhub, and of course, at the surface, everybody was thinking that's her Pornhub check. So they were like, "Oh man, like I got to go watch this. I got to go see how this one turned out." It turns out, and on the check, it had the guy's address. Like they didn't even black out the guy's address. So y'all know what happened next. People started like looking up the guy. And this morning, out of curiosity, because I was like, it's a $38,000 check. I mean, it's significant. You know what I mean? It's not
like, you get to make $38,000. So.
I was like, well, let's dive into this. So
you get tickets to pay off, bro.
Yeah, it was Dion Johnson. So I go look it up this morning, literally on the shitter, look it up, and he's only got 71 video and 13,000 views. And it's the worst porn you'll ever watch, Spoon. Yeah. So that's what got your screen
for $38,000.
It was terrible. Like I was like, this is a man and a wife that are not in any sort of shape. With no, like, this is not good, and that check has to be fake. Like now we've got fake gurus in the real estate industry. Now we got the fake porn checks showing up. I mean, there's just no end in sight.
Yeah, it's desperate times when you're faking porn money.
I guarantee you before it's over with, there's going to be a porn guru that comes out. He's like, this is how you make it.
Yes. Well, I don't know. Like the funniest part was everybody thought it was her. And then she was getting a little bit mad that everybody thought it was her. I was like, well, I mean,
posted a check.
You posted the check.
That'd be like me posting an assignment fee that was yours. I mean,
yeah.
It's like, look how much.
Well, she was making it a joke, but everybody got real excited for a minute, like real excited. I'm surprised y'all missed that post. But anyways, it was one that was getting reported. Like people were report.
Well, that's what goes back to, you got to know your audience. You post that in that group, people are going to run with it. Not a shock.
So, Larry, I've got something. I don't know that many people know this about me. Few do, but I've never met my mom. Larry, did you know that?
No.
I've never met my mom. Spoon, did you know that?
Yes.
And all the women that I've tried to date blame that for the reason why I'm undateable. They call it my mommy issues. So what are the chances we could use Skip Genie right now to find my mom and call her?
I'd say pretty good. If you have an address in the last 20 or 25 years she might have been at, or a city and her name.
I've got a state.
State?
Yes, and a maiden name. But right. I was like, man, my sister tried to look her up and ended up finding like an uncle. You know what I mean? Well, allegedly an uncle. Imagine this: a 19-year-old girl calls you one day out of the blue and is like, "Hey, I don't know my mom. Her name's Vicky Johnson. Is that your sister?" And of course, this like 50-year-old man on the other end is like, "Damn right. When you gonna come visit me?"
Yeah. Send me a picture.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Come on up here and sit on your own uncle's lap.
Yeah.
Hey, Larry,
I just Skip Genie. I can do a search right now and see if I can find anything.
Her name is Vicky Johnson, and she lives in New Hampshire. Spin, what were you gonna say?
No, that explains a lot. You're part Yankee. I get it now.
It's all coming together.
At least part Yankee. Like as Grant Cardone always says, my mom's definitely my mom. My dad might not be my dad.
What's her middle name?
Oh, fuck, I don't know.
Is it Lynn? Is she 58?
She's 50 what?
58?
Yes, that's her.
May of 1961. The problem is there's over 30 Vicky Johnsons. Well, I just searched Vicky. That's kind of a common name. But I saw Vicky Johnson in New Hampshire. Here's one that's 58. And let me open up her report.
I mean, 30 is still not that bad of odds, man. You could call 30 people.
Yeah,
we can ring this voicemail.
There's looks like she's related to Charles Johnson was her dad. This lady, I don't know. Do you know anything about her family?
Do what?
Do you know anything about her family?
Got a brother named Keith.
I found that's a kitchen. That's a different one.
Oh, let's see if my dad's awake. Call him up right quick. Jason, can we get an RVM? If we figure this out, can we pull all the data off of it and send my mom an RVM and be like, I'll record it right here, right now. I'll record the RVM and we'll just fire it to her. Be like, hey, this is Corey, your son you've never met. I'm coming for my back child support. You think that'd be a good way to introduce yourself to your mom?
I don't think that'd be appropriate. I think
let's call my
RVM, 30 different people, all the phone numbers, 30 different people. Hey, Mom, it's Corey.
I guarantee you your phone would light up.
No, only if they got a son named Corey.
Maybe. I mean, they may not know their son's name.
Look, I don't want to waste a bunch of time looking for my mom that I really don't want to find. Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Fixing to take a dump. What are you doing?
You fixing the shit?
Huh?
Did you say you're fixing to take a dump?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear my dad?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, we're using some of this newfangled stuff on the internet to find my mom.
You are. You found it?
Oh, we don't know. We got it down to 30 options, but we don't know any of her family's name.
Okay.
Do you remember her dad's name?
Gary does.
Carrie.
Huh?
What the? How would she know? She ain't never met him.
No, but she knew all that stuff. Brother's named Doug.
You got a brother named Doug,
Sister named Donna.
sister named Donna.
And dad, shit, I forgot his name.
Well, it don't matter. Doug and Donna. What about Keith? I thought there was a Keith.
Huh?
I thought there was a Keith in the mix.
Yeah, Keith. That was the brother.
That's the brother, not Doug. There's no Doug.
Keith and Donna. I won't say Mama was Barbara, but
Maybe a Barbara for a mom.
Barbara.
Dad, how long did y'all date?
how long did we date?
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever actually dated. Never got married.
All right. Okay. Well, makes a lot of sense now. So much more makes sense to a lot of people right now at this moment. Well, go take your dump. I'll call you back later. Man, I don't know that we ever actually dated. 2 kids, but I never would give her the title girlfriend. So what'd you come up with, Larry? Did any close matches?
I'm not seeing. He didn't say her parents' names, just siblings.
He said her mom's name might have been Barbara.
Barbara, that's right. I'm not seeing anybody with matching relatives by those names. Do you think she's remarried?
Yeah, that's the problem. See, at one point, her last name I know was Black, Vicky Black. I know that, but I don't know why I know that. I think Spoon's in there looking around now too.
Is it spelled Vicky with I-E or Vicky just like V-I-C-K-I?
Vicki.
Let me try that.
Hey, what's your dad's name, Corey?
Virgil.
Oh, I got it right here. Victoria J. Black, 59. Possible relatives: Charles Edmund Black, Chuck Edmund Black, Daniel April Black, Rhonda Lee Black, Virgil Wayne Thompson.
I just pulled the same one up. Vicky Black in New Hampshire.
Yeah, man, I love Skip Genie. It's fantastic.
Did we just find my mom on Skip Genie?
Possibly.
Now the question is, can we get the info where we can? How many numbers she got?
But she's showing 5, but they're all landlines.
Of course. Why would my mom have a cell phone?
Well, but I mean, it just may not be you may not have an accurate number for it. She may have a new name now. She may have a new something, but this is closer.
Yeah, you could run reports on the. Hell, you may have there's a Danielle April Black. You may have a half sister out there, Corey.
What? Word? Has she ever been to Texas? I don't want to have a half retarded stepkid.
Who is it?
So
She's in New Hampshire too.
That's good. It's good.
And there's a. I'm looking at her. Victoria 59.
Send me, Spoon, on the sidebar, send me a number. I'm gonna call it.
Okay.
Pick the winner on the private chat. There's only 5 numbers. We can call those real quick.
There you go.
Ooh.
Larry, I'll tell you what, man. I've even tried to introduce your tools to LEO before.
I remember you telling me about that. I forgot the scenario. Yeah.
I've skip traced some stuff for a cop one night that showed up at my door looking for the wrong person. I'm like, hold on. I told our code enforcement officers about it because they're like, I was running down houses they couldn't run down, taking them stuff. They're like, how are you getting this? We have to call detectives. And I'm like, you need better tools. It's $59 a month.
A lot of attorneys and law enforcement, a lot of them use LexisNexis, which isn't that great. I mean, it's better than getting on like Been Verified or Spokio, but it's not that great. But quick story, I just found out, there's all these, everybody's starting up a skip trace company now.
Right.
And it's various levels of it, but found a new service that popped up. I'd never heard of it, but some guy tried them out. He didn't like it. And then he came to us. And I got the name of the company and we looked at their website. I can't figure out who owns it. I haven't put that much effort into it. It's like a spider's web of different entities that own each other and all this.
Sure.
But they literally ripped off word for word testimonials from our customers on our website and put them on their website. I was like, nice. I get there's gonna be a lot of copycats, but damn, just come up with your own make-believe testimonials at least.
Well, I mean, if you got haters, you're doing something right.
We've had people. I haven't talked about this a lot publicly, but we've had people do different things to try and sabotage us, and it's like, yeah. I get it. You're going to play games. I don't get that philosophy. It's kind of like, I know there's a lot of people like Gary Vaynerchuk. It's like you have two philosophies. If you want to build the tallest building, either just build the tallest building, or some people have the mindset of knock down all the other buildings because they don't have any faith in what they're doing or the confidence in the service or product they offer. But it is what it is. I at the time, I was getting pretty pissed when some of that stuff was going down, real pissed. I mean, they basically were trying to get us investigated, and not trying to. We did get investigated, dealt with that. It's no big deal. I knew we weren't doing anything wrong, but it just, you just got to roll with it.
Well, it's hard. I'm putting Corey's sister's numbers in here. Possible sister, alleged.
Yes, please. I mean,
This,
sister. I'll find out.
Yeah, that Danielle shows up at she shares an address with her at times, so she's definitely close to her.
Yeah, so let me tell some of the back while Corey's working through this issue of his. Let's talk about Larry for a minute. So I'll tell some Larry stories. I when I was starving to death a couple years ago, before I met Corey, I watched Larry. I think it was on Propelio.
Yep.
I watched you did a video somewhere, and Larry, being a nice guy, I did what I always do. I just dived in his DMs. This is before Larry was as well known as he is now. And I just started pestering him. He was nice enough to help me. He got on the phone with me and helped me understand tax records, like really understand tax records, what I was looking at. And I run into it all the time. I was working with somebody that really does all their marketing built out of the tax records this week. And they never looked at the judgments column. They'd never looked at a lot of stuff. Or I guess it was last week I was talking to him about this, but it doesn't matter. It just shows you that there's so many levels to our business, levels of understanding, that this guy's making a living in tax records, building these lists and stuff, making a good living doing his stuff. And he had never even looked at this level of stuff. So this is all stuff that Larry was nice enough to show me. And I tell people all the time, Skip Genie is a wonderful tool. I use it. I pay for the bigger package. What you got there, Corey?
A court date.
I pay for the bigger package because we do, batch skip tracing and stuff through y'all's company. and things like that. But the biggest value in Skip Genie to me, especially for a new person, Larry ain't giving me shit for this. So I want to be very clear. Larry's not compensating me other than he's helped me not starve to death at points in my life. The biggest value as part of Skip Genie is their weekly. I don't know if you would call it a class. It's a support call, but it essentially is a class because you can sit there and listen to all these people that are Skip Genie users call in and work through the issues where they're having trouble. They're stuck working a lead, and you have it's either Larry or his partner or somebody else jumping in on these calls saying, "Well, hey, try this next." And Larry has this background, this vast knowledge, like a lot of other guys that are specialists in the field. Like we see Logan Fulmer running around doing his deep cuts on crazy title issues. Larry works these deep cuts on tax problems and states and things like that. And he goes out and finds these huge deals where a lot of us, and I'm not saying all of Larry's deals are big, but Larry, you have some really good wins because you have the knowledge to go track down these problems and find 45 errors.
Yeah, it's like I tell people, you're trading time and energy. Like if you don't have to call 10,000 people or 1,000 people. Spend less time. If you're on a tight budget, spend more time researching, generating the best list of the most distressed leads you can find, and less time calling. Because when you have that criteria set, I talk about death, vacancy, and taxes, loan and default, COVID, whatever it is, but a highly distressed list, you're going to have good phone calls. You're going to get appointments and contracts and things like that. I don't care what market you're in. I talked to one of our guys last week. He's in, I think, Phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix. Everybody's like, "Oh, I'm in a competitive market." I think everybody agree. I'm in Houston. Y'all are up in DFW. From my desk right here at my computer, I've found deals in DFW flying underneath everybody else's radar and got it. There's a ton of competition up there. But one of our guys in Phoenix hit a dead end on one of these types of leads. And he reached out to me for some help. I haven't heard from him in a while. Let me backtrack a little bit. As a newer investor, his very first deal going through this process was like a $70,000 or $80,000 assignment fee. That's when you're
life changing.
Yeah, when you're brand new, that's the relief you must feel. Not my very first deal was $11,000. I was doing cartwheels over that.
Mine was $1,000.
Yeah, it's life changing. It's like that gives you so much room to breathe, and you're not as much pressure because you're still learning a lot and all the mistakes. But so he used to be on our weekly call quite a bit, but then he kind of figured things. He didn't need us as much. He's not on the calls as often. But we did talk. I was like, "So how's everything going?" He's like, "Man, it's freaking awesome. This and that." I was like, "Are you doing more mass marketing now or this and that?" He's like, "No, all I do is just go after these highly distressed, it's just me." I think he has a VA that helps him with some stuff. And he's happy as all get out. He's happy with his deal flow. I didn't do a deep dive into his numbers, but he's in Phoenix. There's guys like, who are those guys? I can't think of their names. They have a group, but there's plenty of big time investors doing tons of marketing, spending tens, if not hundreds of $1,000s in marketing in Arizona. And he's just going after the stuff they're missing. That's all he's doing. But another guy, he's in Vegas. You may remember Dylan. Can't remember his last name. He's in the Air Force.
Yeah.
He's doing. Talked to him about a month ago. It's a 6-figure deal. I think he's just clearing $100,000 on it. It's a freaking mobile home. And Vegas isn't a huge market. It's not a small market, but it's not like DFW or Houston or whatever. I'm sure there's got to be a land component to that. He's basically picking up a mobile home for like $2,000, and one way or another, it's like a 6-figure deal. He gets out of the Air Force, I think, in December. I mean, that's life changing. It's like he has no concerns about transitioning from the Air Force into the civilian life. He has his footing in real estate, and he'll be fine.
So, and we're talking about Dylan Tettermeyer. He's the kid. I've been tracking him since the first time I met him at a Propelio event. He's a really nice young man. And I want to say he's 84, 85 in the military.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows what military pay scales are, that one deal would probably be more than he made in 2 to 3 years. You know.
I have a ton of respect for him. You know, he was doing this while he's in the Air Force stationed in Japan.
Yeah.
He's up at, whatever hours at night, cold calling people and all this. And he was struggling. And the biggest mistake I see a lot of people make it starting out, they want to cold call and they're just doing these broad generic lists. Yes, you can get deals, but you're going to have to call so many people. A lot of them are going to be marginal, and and that's the struggle he had. And then he finally slowed things down, and we talked a couple of times, and he decided to kind of delve into the more distressed and targeted approach. And he's pretty happy. I'm not saying it's the end all be all, just do this and nothing else. But if you're new and struggling, it's like, dude, you don't have to spend much money, and you can kind of stuff works.
Well, I think when I talked to you those couple of times where you helped me understand that stuff, I know the parking lot I was sitting in. I still have the yellow notepad over here that I was writing down my notes on.
I remember I was driving from the office. I haven't. My office is an hour away. That's why I do stuff from home so much.
Yeah, and
time to hop on a call. I got an hour. I remember I was on the Beltway when I was talking to you.
Yeah, and so what really came out of that for me at that point in time, I was very new in my real estate career. I kind of gotten laid off. I had to survive. We were starving to death. But I was jumping all over the place, like willy-nilly, because I was just frantic. You're in survival mode. You're trying to do anything. You're throwing shit at this wall over here, shit over here. You're doing everything you can to survive. And it didn't really, when you talked to me, I was like, oh man, I really got to look at this. Cause I was just like finding people and calling them, like, and I figured out how little motivation some people have. What you got, Corey?
One of the sisters' numbers worked.
Nice.
So I called my half sister. She's got a voicemail. I don't know. Maybe she's a bum. Like, it's the East Coast. Why wouldn't she be awake, Spoon?
I don't know, bro. maybe she's tired of getting RVM'd by a bunch of wholesalers, and she don't answer numbers she don't know anymore.
Maybe.
She might have a good filter on her phone. That's one thing. All these people that are doing massive cold calls with the auto dialers and all that, the way the technology is progressing. Like Verizon has an app now. When I got my new iPhone, they told me about this app in the store. And it's a pretty good filter that identifies the robocalls and things like that. It's going to impact a lot of these guys with a massive cold calling operation.
Well, so, help me with my RVM. Do you want to RVM my mom and sister?
No.
Hey, what was her name? Her name was Danny, wasn't it? Or Danielle?
Danielle.
Yeah, that's Danny. Right there. The number works. She sounds Yankee as fuck. So, I mean, it's like, have you seen my cousin Vinny? Sounds like the chick of my cousin Vinny.
Hey, I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for Marissa Tomei. She's fantastic.
She sounds like. So what's her full name? We'll try to find her on Facebook.
Danielle April Black.
Danielle April Black from New Hampshire. Okay, people that are watching, try to find her on Facebook. We're going to keep letting Spoon talk about his early days. And
I mean, my point isn't to talk about me. It's to talk about how Skip Genie helped me through this transition. Because there's a lack of data there's a lack of quality data, right? So True People Search is great. That's great. You can find some stuff. Zaba Search is one nobody knows about. It's one of the first ones on the web. It's truly spooky, the stuff that was on Zaba Search. And we're talking, this stuff went back 5-10 years ago. You could see stuff on Zaba Search. I had trouble getting good data. And then I found Skip Genie, and now I could actually get a hold of people. Now, everybody knows we do a lot of bandit signs. We've done RVMs, and RVMs, I think, is the hard button. Everybody thinks it's going to be the easy button. because you can just blast people. But to me, RVMs is an offensive play, and when you're hitting somebody, you know, in an offensive movement, they get defensive very quickly. I don't like it as much. When you're cold calling people, Corey's going to jump in and tell me I'm wrong. But
I'm not listening. I'm looking at my stepsister on Facebook. What town does she live in? Is she from Framingham, Massachusetts, or Manchester, New Hampshire?
Well, there's Milford, Seabrook, New Hampshire, Wilton, Milton, Manchester, Amherst.
And
The latest one is Milford.
Well, I'm adding this one. It's the only one that came up. Now, it says single. Keep going, guys. I'm gonna keep diving in.
Okay, yeah, that's not so I don't even remember what we were saying. But the quality of data is what allows you to get to people. And like Larry said, you don't have to do a lot of it. As soon as I started using Skip Genie, I finally started getting a hold of some people, and I'm talking like deep cuts because of some of the stuff that Larry taught me as far as running down tax judgments and things like that. I found 4 or 5 abandoned houses that look like somebody cuts a yard, somebody trims the trees, somebody picks up the trash at these houses, and they've been abandoned for years. I learned a lot very, very quickly that abandoned houses don't always look like abandoned houses.
Yep.
And these were, several cases. One was a probate. A son got left it by his mother who died with no will. The mother had inherited the house from her parents who died with no will. So this kid now had 2 houses in his name, 2 different cities. This kid's in jail for meth when I found him. Ended up tracking his lawyer down. His lawyer was no help. He's like, nah, I'm not the one. Turns out when I really researched it, his lawyer's in control as the trustee of a $500,000 worth of stocks and bonds. So I don't think there's a lot of motivation there.
Yeah.
For him to help me buy a $30,000 shit box. But I said that was the first one. Then the next one was I had trouble. There was one, I never tracked these ladies. They went to a nursing home and I never could find them. But the next one I tracked down was a grandparent that had died. One of their sons moved in. It was the uncle. The uncle had passed away, and then nobody lived in it. And I started tracking down relatives there. I found several of these that I would have never found any other way.
That's what you got, Corey?
Okay, so what I'm doing is like I'm Facebook creeping strongly. So we found Danielle.
Yeah.
Now I go to her about me on Facebook, okay, and it tells her family members, right? But she don't claim her dad on there, which would be the link to my mom, right? So anyways, so then I go to her brother, but her brother does claim him. So there's old Bill. Was she ever married to a Bill Black? Can y'all tell that? Would that be something y'all could find on Skip Genie? But you hear it because Bill only has 56 friends. I'm gonna go to see all friends, and I'm gonna search my mom's name.
There's a William Black in there. William E. Black.
Okay. Well, I was looking to see if I could find my mom's Facebook, but obviously I wasn't able to find it. But I did friend request. I'm gonna friend request Bill Black right now.
Well, if she's not related to Bill Black anymore, she's divorced from him. She may have a new name.
This is true. I mean, he probably calls up an old fling every once in a while. Hell, my dad wouldn't even admit that he dated her earlier. So she's obviously crazy.
So Larry,
Larry,
I'm not trying to overrun this subject here. I'm a constant proponent of Skip Genie. So what do you think are the biggest benefits of this compared to other data? Obviously, there's high-end services that nobody can get to, like IDI. But the probably the most notable would be LexisNexis and TLO.
Yeah, that's the thing. That was my goal from day one. When I realized because I knew the struggles I had getting good data, and then as I got proficient at putting that data to work, just paying attention to all these investors through Facebook, just seeing the issues everybody was having, I was like, they need better data, but most people can't get access to it. I was like, can I figure out a way to bridge that gap for them? And hey, if you can get IDI and get TLO or whatever, more power. I'm not going to bash that data. It's good data. The problem is most people can't get it. And then and I would say specifically with TLO, if you can get approved, just be careful because they giveth and taketh away. A lot of people are losing TLO access, and we're benefiting from that. People are coming to us saying, "Hey, I lost my TLO access."
Well, and sometimes it's not even their fault. I've seen people lose TLO because they let their virtual assistant get access to it.
Yeah, it was they keep track of all that. And they see that, like when somebody's logging in or doing something from overseas. I know some guys have set up some VPNs or something to try and mask it, but all it takes, for whatever reason, if they want to do an audit, I haven't seen anybody pass an audit yet.
So here's what bothers me about TLO. So and it may not be TLO. These just may be liars out there. So you see like all
this. I got to get on this. Spoon, when the fuck have you ever used TLO?
I'm not. Hold on. Just let me finish what I'm saying. When I'm on Fiverr, when I'm on Upwork, I see TLO data advertised from the Indian companies, the Pakistani companies, and stuff like that. They're either lying about what actual data they have, or I'm really upset because these places in another country can get access to this data that we can't get access to, and I don't understand how that's possible if audits are required. So I'm assuming they don't actually have TLO access.
They know that's a buzz, that's something they need to offer. Like they know that people want it. I've tested some here and there because I was curious. I'm like, is there some kind of loophole or way around that they figured out that they can get this? I haven't found one that actually has TLO data. They're just saying they do, and most investors have no clue what they're getting. Some of them might if they've used a decent skip trace service before, if they've had TLO and lost it. But
they're a piece of shits. That's what the fuck they are.
Yeah,
because y'all remember the old Chester the molester that came into all the Facebook groups.
Yep.
You remember him, Spoon?
No, I don't know who we're talking about.
Back when I was data starved, I like looking into it, like, hey, where can we get money? So the first person we ever paid money for data was Spokio, okay? And had Emery's mom sit there at the desk and just manually search everybody on Spokio. Well, what happened? We got to 100 in a day or whatever, and they shut us down. It was like, and I think we were paying $1 or something per search at that time. It was something insane, and they literally wouldn't let us search anymore. So Spokio was out. I started talking about it on the internet. This was, of course, before Roughneck Real Estate. It was just in the bigger investor groups like DFW Investment Group, Wholesaling Houses, Full Time, whatever other groups are out there. And this idiot, Chester the molester, shows up. And he's ripped off everybody I know. And do you know what he was using, Spoon? He's like, oh, I can do it for 75 cents a lead. Do you know which service he used to look that up?
I'm going to guess True People Search. Or not True People Search. It's probably Spokio.
No, My Plus Leads. He literally took 75 cents over the top of their quarter, okay? Didn't even deliver. He delivered half the list back to me and acted like it took him 6 weeks to do the work, and then just quit talking to me. You know what I mean? Like, and he's done that too. I bet you I've read. I know he did it to Mitzi Diane early on. He did it to I don't know how many people. Just used a data append service to pull data, which, I was happy when I got it. I mean, that's how stupid he was. I'd have kept paying 75 cents forever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm that kind of guy. Like, if he'd have kept giving me data, I'd have kept ringing his voicemail, and I would have stayed with that data because I could make money on it. You know what I mean? But anyways, he decided to steal our money. He stole our money. And that was what was running rampant at that time period during the deal. For some reason, there's a guy named Dylan on the stream.
It might be Dylan Tedemer. I just texted him. And
Copy of the stream?
Oh, I texted him the wrong link. That's Dylan. I said me and Larry are texting about you or talking about you. My bad, Dylan. I didn't. I gave you the wrong link. I meant to give you the YouTube link.
Dylan's on the show now. Dylan, you want to say anything?
What? Can you guys hear me?
That's funny.
Can't see you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just clicked on the link that you sent me over.
Yeah, that's my bad.
We can't hear you,
Sorry,
Dylan.
man.
You're gone.
I'm at work. I'm at work now.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna send you the YouTube link, man. Sorry, my bad.
We're coming to Vegas. We're coming to Vegas in February. We'll see you then.
Oh, okay. That sounds good. I'll be out of the military by then.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your service.
Absolutely, man. I'll see you guys later.
See you, Dylan.
That's my bad.
It was like we've been speaking of all this data. Somebody has infiltrated our system. We're in there.
No, I texted him. I just texted him like, "Hey, me and Larry are talking about you right now." My bad. I sent the wrong link. So Larry, I'm going to be in Houston next weekend. Maybe we can meet up for a few minutes. I'd like to shake your hand in person.
I'll be.
We're going fishing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can go fishing.
You can go fishing with us.
I need to, but I promised my wife I'd take her to Albuquerque the next weekend.
Yeah.
And it's just becoming. It's going to be a lot.
It's not an either-or proposition, Spoon.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I'll look at it.
No, yeah, I've got that whole scaling live event is next weekend. I'll be there. I don't know what day. I'm helping coach my nephew's little league football team, and we got a game on Saturday. And then, so I'll probably be at whole scaling. That's in the Woodlands. I'll probably do that Friday. And
Spoon, you're going.
Yeah, I'll be over there. I'll see you.
is that what you're coming to Houston for?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll link up. I'm guessing I'll be there Friday afternoon. I'll hang out for a bit. We're going to be one of the sponsors. I really don't know that much about the event. I saw Daniel was speaking at it. I'm like, okay, if Daniel's attached to it, I'm comfortable with it. So
That's kind of the consensus. But Spoon gets to go for free because he is a celebrity.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, it is. They said we got to get Spoon down here. Hey, Spoon, I want you to set up a booth there. I want you to set up a booth and sell piñatas.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. That seems.
Why not?
I don't know.
They can beat on the piñata, and condoms can come out from Roughneck Real Estate. Everybody that's
yeah, it seems like a lot of work for some marginal marketing.
It'll be great return. Trust me, the condoms are a big hit.
you set up a table or a little booth like at a trade show, and that's your little vendor table. Yeah, you have people get pins or little stress balls. You have the roughneck to real estate condoms.
Well, as we all know, I don't use those because I have so many kids.
Spoon, the condoms. Have I ever told you about Mitch Stevens and the condoms?
No.
So Mitch grabbed one at the Propelio event last October. Okay, he thought they were wet wipes.
Oh, that's funny.
So he grabs one. He's like, "Oh, I might need these later." That's pretty clever. Wet wipes. Grabs one, sticks it in his pocket, forgets about it, gets home, and his wife is doing laundry and finds a condom in his pocket. And he's like, "What? There was condoms?" She's like, "Yeah, there's a condom in your pocket." And he's like, "I have no idea what the hell you're talking about." And she showed it to him. He's like, "Oh, I thought those were wet wipes."
That's pretty funny. So
it is pretty funny. I was like, "Damn, savage." I don't want to get people divorced accidentally.
So hey, let's talk about the fishing trip. Is it an overnight fish? What you got, man?
Yeah, so it's 2 days. For anybody that's familiar with the Chandler Islands, they're about 40 miles off the coast of Louisiana, Mississippi. Basically, there's different charters that run out. You get on this big boat. You meet up at the harbor. Everybody loads up on the big boat. You head out at night. You wake up the next morning, and they drop all these little 12, 14-foot skiffs, and 5 or 6 of them in the water. You get up and eat breakfast, and then you partner up with somebody, and then 2 men to a skiff. You hop in these little skiffs, bring your drinks, and just go fish all day. Come back for lunch. They cook your lunch. You don't do anything but fish. They do all the cooking. They'll at the end of the day, they take your gear out of the skiffs, put it on the boat, give it a little wash down.
Do I need my own gear?
Huh?
Do I need my own gear?
Yes. And I can talk to you if you don't have a ton of it. I've got quite a few backup rod and reels, and
I don't. I only go on guided fishing trips because I don't want to maintain fishing gear. It's like,
yeah, these are like, this isn't guided, like they're not providing all that. But between me and somebody else, I probably have enough backup stuff to cover. I talked to Stuart yesterday. He's got his own gear, so that's not gonna be a problem. He did have some question about like tackle, but I'll be a quasi guide to the group as far as gear goes.
What are we catching? Redfish, trout?
Redfish, trout. I caught my first flounder out there on this last trip in August. I know there's flounder there. I've just never caught one. Sometimes some people will go out, like, they go back to the boat in the evening, eat dinner, and then it gets dark. If they bring their gear, they'll go back out and go gigging, where you have like a headlamp and just a gig, and you walk around looking for the flounder laying on the bottom and just stab them. Might do something like that. But you'll catch sharks, big old Jack Crevalles, like freaking this big.
That's good
On
eating.
the paddle? Will I be paddling?
No, well, these are little outboard little outboard motors on the back of the skiff, and I got to
bring my own drinks.
Yeah, the only thing they cook the meals, just whatever snacks you want, and your drinks. That's it.
Oh man, that can get dangerous. Spoon.
Yeah. Corey's gonna be eating raw fish out there to
when I went on my first elk hunt, we were on a 2,500 acre ranch in Colorado that was literally right by the highway. But like, I was like, nah, man, there might be bears out there. Like I might end up having to like survive in the wilderness for a long time. I literally had a backpack, and Shane makes fun of me all the time. I had a backpack completely full of Nutter Butter cookies and water. Like
oh my God, dude.
Through this terrain, going over, falling down aspen trees, just getting my ass kicked by the terrain because I'm carrying like 100 pounds of Nutter Butters and water. And Shane's like, why the fuck did you bring all this shit? And I'm like, dude, I don't know if you're going to go down. I'm going to have to eat you first. I want some Nutter Butter to back it up. Like, I have no idea what the hell's going to happen on this trip. He's like, it's a 2,500 acre ranch next to a highway. Like,
we've all been there though. You go on that hiking trip and you don't know what to take. So what's the standby? You just grab a bunch of granola and you're cramming that, but nobody ever eats a bunch of granola. So the first thing it does is lock your system down like cell block C. You just Jack, it's terrible planning. Nobody ever thinks I should take what I normally eat camping.
I'm like Corey. When I just go fishing out in the bay, I don't like. It's like it's too easy just to bring some stuff, even if it's more than I need. I don't care. I'd rather have too much than not have enough.
And so now I got this overnight trip in my head, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna need snacks. What if the captain goes down? I don't know how to drive this boat. I'm the only one alive. Now I got to get back. I'm gonna need enough food. Like that's what goes through my head.
You know, the only thing I am obsessive compulsive about taking, like, is because none of that other stuff really matters. I'll just grab whatever. What's the Lomatil? You can't get it anymore. What is Imodium? I take Imodium with me every time I go into the woods because we got up there one time and we were cooking trout up in Colorado, and I guess I got something that wasn't good. I was sick for like 2 days, dude. I was on my deathbed in a tent, like, just terrible. So,
Shane got married during elk season and didn't plan out his perfect life because he wants to elk hunt every year. And so his anniversary falls during the archery season every single time. And that's whenever they're in their rut and they're bugling and all that. So he's always got to work around his anniversary somehow. So one year he decided for his anniversary, he's going to take his wife and they were going to go hike up on the side of this mountain where there's public land, but basically he was using it to go scout where he was going to hunt the next week whenever elk season came up. So he takes his wife, he looks at it on Google Earth, and he sees there's this body of water up there that they could get to. So they're like straight roughing it. They've got whatever little container that'll filter the water. Yeah, I got up there and the water was this deep and just full of parasites and alive stuff. And Shane had to like wade out in it. They almost froze to death because it got severely cold at night. Like, it's a funny ass story, but Shane like literally had to wade naked out into this deal, waiting for the water to get deep enough to finally get some good water for him to drink, and otherwise they wouldn't have had nothing to drink for the rest of the trip.
He didn't carry any iodine or anything with him to drop in his water?
Oh, I'm sure he does, but you got your wife with you.
Oh yeah. You don't want your wife getting giardia on your first on your first trip.
I want to say they did get like mud butt up there on the side of the mountain. So I mean, you could just imagine like we're gonna go camp and rough it for 4 days in the wilderness with no cell service, no nothing. And I mean, they had a good time. Like, but Shane was like, yeah, the water wasn't what it looked like it was going to be.
Man, I worked overseas for a while. I came home for tax reasons. I need to go back out of the country for like 40 something days. I was like, where can I go that's cheap? And I spent a couple months in like India and Nepal. And I made a mistake. I grabbed the wrong water bottle in a room in India. Basically, it's a little cheap little hotel place. And at the coffee maker, they had a bottle. It's like they kept filling up a bottle of water with tap water because you're putting it in the coffee pot. Well, I had opened a bottle of water and set it close by. I didn't think anything of it. Yeah, I just went to grab it later on. I had some drinks. I'm like, wait a second. This isn't the same bottle of water. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh, it must be one I had earlier or whatever. I was like, it's a bottle of water. No big deal. Man, the next day something hit me and I wasn't right for probably about 6 weeks. By the time I was thinking, man, when I go home, I'm gonna have to go see a doctor, see like some kind of internal parasites or what.
Should have just paid the taxes.
Yeah.
On day 3 of mud butt, you're wishing you'd have just paid the taxes.
Yeah,
you're like, don't you have to be out of the country for 330 days?
Yeah. It was basically 330 days you gotta stay out of the country. And what happened was I came home before my year was up. I was like, I'd been gone for like 3 years. I got a little burned out. Like, I need a break. And that was part of my break. So I came home, took care of some business for a couple of weeks, and then I left for a couple of months and then came back. So
where were you at?
In India, Nepal, or
no, where were you working, man?
I was bouncing all over Iraq, working different. I started off kind of out in Western Iraq. And
were you contractor?
Yeah, we did a lot of military projects, building housing, base camps, and different things like that, construction stuff.
Yeah, I'm working for KBR,
Kellogg Brown and Root, or as we sarcastically referred to it as kickback and relax. We had some lazy dudes there. I mean, people I wouldn't pay to sweep my driveway, but they could pass the background check. And I mean, there were some good guys. There were some people that bust their ass. But one
of the local guys here, one of the local guys here in town went over there and made enough money and came back and went to law school. But he's like 60 now. He just graduated law school.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't know a lot about working overseas. I just knew that when I was looking into it, there was some places that paid really, really well, really, really well. I was like, man, I could make $3,750 a day. That's fabulous. And then I would start doing research on the actual place I was going to be, and it'd be like Russia, but be like one of the stands that you think is like Middle Eastern, but it's really Siberian cold ass like.
Kyrgyzstan. Yeah.
There's a lot of electricians and stuff that go over into the into those Eastern Bloc countries, and right on the edge of those Eastern Bloc companies doing oil and gas stuff.
Yeah, that was what I was going to do. And then I got to research it, and I was like, I mean, it was just terrible. Like, the work conditions were terrible. You get over there, at least for me, you get there, but you ain't got no way to leave. You ain't got a vehicle. You know what I mean?
So I worked all over Iraq too. Well, that's a conversation for another day. I was there in 0506. I don't know when you rotated in and out, but we had a guy that this just dorky Texan dude, just the dorkiest guy you've ever met from a small town. He went to Slovakia. He was working in Slovakia as a contractor and married this girl that was a legit model. And amazingly enough, the day after he moved her back, and she's like this beautiful girl. The day after her green card stuff was all straightened out, she magically divorced him. That poor guy. He was like, "Look at my model wife," and we're like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna work out, bro."
Yeah, these Eastern Europeans they're no boy, like they're down to business. They're they'll take care of themselves. Slovakia, but I've been to Czech Republic, and then I've also been to Slovakia, just traveling through. That beautiful women all over the place over there.
I wanted to go. Like I was before I got into real estate. Before I was sitting there with my laptop that's in a box over here, on my couch in my underwear, firing off my resume and doing phone interviews with people. And I was like round 3 into the interview for a $3,000 a day job in some shithole Russian deal. And I got on the phone with my dad, and y'all heard my dad earlier, and he's like, yeah, there's just some things that ain't worth the money. And I'm like, no, Dad, it's $3,000 a day. And he goes, what happens? You get over there and shit goes wrong. You need to get out. Do you have a vehicle? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I ain't asked. He goes, that's what I would ask. I'd want to be able to leave. And I was like, all right.
You don't want to.
I was like, I asked him, I was like, hey, am I going to have my own vehicle, or like, how am I going to get to and from the rig? Because when I go to the rig, I'm there for 30 days or whatever it's going to be. I mean, just the travel time alone was going to be 5 or 6 days a month to get to and from a job that I was going to have to be at for 28 days. So I was about to give up a shitload of family time in my mind just in travel days. The travel days were paid as well. So, I mean, it's going to be really good money. But, I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, looking at it and kind of looking at Emery sitting there in her diaper, and I'm like, no, I think I want to be Emery's dad, not a statistic about, rolling a Jeep trying to run from whatever I perceived was a danger. And it probably wasn't that bad, but the working conditions are going to be miserable because the highs were like -10, so yeah. I wasn't going to anyways.
I'll take heat. Like I didn't mind being out in the desert. Didn't mind it one bit. The cold, not my cup of tea, man. You can have that all. Like I don't want to deal with it.
Well, 90% of guys.
It got a lot colder than I expected out in the desert.
Oh, dude, there's nothing. Iraq's winter, where it's like 34 degrees and rainy for 2 or 3 months, was the most miserable. It wasn't as bad as North Dakota, but it was annoying. Just you're slogging around in mud every day, almost frozen.
We had a day. I'll probably never see this weather again. It rained, it snowed, and we had like a orange dust storm come in. So there's just a little bit of snow on the ground. Then this dust comes in, and it's like orange snow all of a sudden because that dust kind of has an orange color to it. Just the weirdest freaking weather I've ever seen.
And stink. Is there anything in the world that smells like that Iraqi dirt? That stuff, man. I tossed all my clothes when I came back. I just tossed them in the trash can.
So Larry, I mean, we're the best at bullshit. We found my mom. At least we found a good rabbit hole to go down to find my mom. Spoon, we're gonna RVM her later. You wanna help me RVM my mom?
I've got to go deal with taking a kid to school real quick and help my wife with something. So I'll be glad when this one's out of preschool. It really wrecks the morning having 2 drop-off times.
Well, that's fine. I'll just continue to go on with my mom issues, Spoon. I'll never get them all sorted out.
You can't reach her directly. She does like you probably be able to reach one of these relatives, one of these other blacks or Johnson.
Another thing, Larry, are you on for the Vegas Mastermind? You can come out and teach us about all the things we don't know about tax lists.
Yeah, I'll impart whatever I know or think I know. Like I'll be happy to. I didn't know. You were talking about doing a mastermind until we talked yesterday. I didn't know when it was or anything like that, but yeah, we'll mix it up.
It's February 19th through 23rd, but you only have to come for one day, the 20th. That's the day we're doing our mastermind. Everything else is Grant Cardone's 10X Growth Conference. If you want to go check that out, you can. If not, we're not holding you to it. We understand that that's not for everybody. For me, I'm going into that growth conference looking for private capital. I'm going to make connections, find money. That's all I'm there for. Spoon says he can't go because I keep saying orgy bed. I don't really know.
Orgy bed.
You haven't seen the orgy bed? Are you married, Larry?
No.
Hell no.
Okay. Well, you might have the orgy bed. Here, let's look at the orgy bed. We'll get it brought up for you because Spoon says we need to not call it the orgy bed, but I don't know what to call it.
I didn't say not call it. I just said be aware of what your marketing is.
Oh, I know. You said nobody's going to let their husband go if there's an orgy bed.
Well, it's not exactly what I said. I just said be aware that people that are in your group have wives in the group too. And it's a little questionable when you're selling this as a 18-year-old frat party / bachelor party. So, I mean, we can compare stories about all the strip clubs in Vegas at some other point. I'll be happy to give you my opinion on those. But this...
Larry, can you see this bed?
Yeah.
I need a proper adjective. So Spoon will get off my back.
I think you called it the orgy bed.
I mean, why you build a bed like that? You don't build a bed like that for a good night's rest. It's not what that bed was built for.
That's built for somebody that just had a good night at the casino and just went and picked up about 10 hookers and took them back to the room.
Yes, but look, we're really not going to do any of that. Like, I don't drink. I don't go to strip clubs. Like, it's not like what I'm looking forward to is Wednesday. We're going to get there. I'm doing something special for the first 15 people that buy. So the first 15 people that buy, we're gonna spend the Wednesday afternoon together in a limo, driving for dollars, doing bandit signs, doing door knocking. Like, we're gonna make a real good time. And then we're gonna go to dinner. We're gonna go to dinner that night. And then we're going to do the mastermind on Tuesday, and we're going to have I'm going to say a tight schedule, but Larry's going to do a breakout session. Jason Palliser has agreed to come out. I haven't reached out to Daniel Chad Moore yet, but I mentioned it to him, but haven't officially. But I hope he comes out. Donnie Ruffin said he would come out. Who else? Avi is trying to get a babysitter, and Chris Young. So, I mean, we're going to have people that are doing Airbnbs in Napa. We're going to have the king of data, Larry, who picks up all the scraps. And you talked about that guy in Phoenix while I was looking for my mom that just literally does what the other people don't want to do. And I think there's a huge market in that. Spoon, how many leads have we gotten from our title company that other people couldn't close and they just throw them on our lap because they couldn't clear the title?
A ton.
Yeah.
And it was just like the wholesaler or investor would have to make like 2 phone calls to get an affidavit of heirship signed, but they didn't know how to do it. They didn't know where to get the data. You know what I mean? So it gets dropped into our lap. Boom, boom. We got a $100,000 margin deal just from knowing how to do that, and that's what Larry specializes in. I assume from everything that
that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for, man. Like the more messed up it is, the better. Because you bring that much more value, and you can make the you deal with property like that. A lot of times, the owners have given up, or what the perceived value is really low. If they can get anything, they're happy. And I'm not naturally comfortable making these real low ball offers just in general, but on stuff like that, I got no problems. Like, hey, if I get you $1,000 with that work, I got no problem asking a question like that. I didn't even make an offer. I just asked them a question.
Yeah.
So that's a big gold nugget for kids that are afraid to go in and just gut somebody with a low ball offer. If you're not afraid, if you don't want to make an offer of $1, Larry just gave you a really nice way around that. That's a huge tip.
I've got a contract right now, $10,000. It's got title issues on the backside. It was sold owner finance. The owner finance purchaser paid it off and then sold it on a contract for deed. This all happened in like the early 90s. The contract for deed buyer paid it off, now owns it free and clear, paid taxes. But here's the problem. There's never a lien release filed for the original owner finance buyer that got it paid off and then sold it contract for deed. the contract for deed paperwork wasn't filed at all. Like they just have the contract for deed, and it was swapped over, like it was titled over, but there was no, you know what I mean, like the actual paperwork that makes that transaction. So you've got to go back all the way to the late 80s, you know what I mean, to cure that title. I haven't even looked at it yet, or we got our attorney pulling the title run on it, but we're going to close on that thing. Our offer went from 40,000 to 10,000, and the original wholesaler that had it, or we had it first, and a wholesaler got it. You know what I mean? They literally gave up on it because they couldn't clear the title. We're going to pay the guy 10 grand, get the taxes current. It's got a tenant in it for $300 a month, and we're going to cash flow that property until we get that title cured, even if it takes a suit to cure it. And we've never done that. And I'm looking forward to the entire process of getting it done.
Yeah, there's multiple ways to tackle that, and just having be willing to, first of all, put the effort in to figure it out. But there's multiple ways to tackle something like that and make it work. But most people, they either have no clue and they give up, or they just don't want to do any work and they just move on. So.
Well, our offer went from, I think it was 45,000 down to 10, and I actually offered him 8, and he said we'll do 10. And the reason why I do 10 is because there's 2,000 in back taxes. He wants to walk with 8. And that's it.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. That title, first of all, you have tax delinquency, but the serious distress there is he has a problem he can't solve. He's got this jacked up title. So your offer, it's funny. It went, hey, 40,000, but you know what, Mr. Seller, now this jacked up title, the value of your house, here's my new offer, and he accepted it.
Well, and the messed up part was, here's the messed up part. We had a contract on it. He contracted with another person that was a wholesaler, okay? So he had 2 contracts on it. He didn't like our offer was less than the wholesalers. So when he contacted us, he said, hey, look, I don't want to sell anymore. All right, no problem. Release it. We don't worry about stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people go out memo and all this bullshit. Like I don't got time. I don't want to enforce a memo. I don't want to get sued over a memo. Like I don't want the liability of a memo. I don't give a shit. I'll go find a new deal. So we release it. But when he called me back, he didn't realize who I was. He didn't realize that we had already contracted it one time before. So when he called me back, he said, hey, look, I have this deal, and the guy couldn't close on it because of the title issues. And I was like, what's the address? Because he called me before, and so he gave me the address. I'm like, I know that address, and I look it up in my notes, and sure enough, we contracted it. And he's like, another guy has offered me $8,000 for it. Would you do 8? And I said, yeah. And he goes, but I need 2 to pay the taxes, so it'd be 10 to you. And I said, look, we're gonna do this to a title company. Don't worry about it. I'll come over there and get a contract on it. And when he saw me, I think he recognized, I think he knew, you know what I mean, that I was the original buyer that was going to pay him just a little bit less. But if he would have been, like, we'd have still done the same work for 45. You know what I mean? We didn't gut shoot him. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, hey, this is where it's at. He kind of gut shot himself. It was like, but the price moved that much just because of those issues. You know what I mean? Had he not gone to the other wholesaler and all that, I would have been like, no, bro, we'll still do for what we paid it for. You know what I mean? Like, we'll still do what we originally agreed to do. But when you cut me out of the deal because I perceived higher offer, you know what I mean? It makes it a little interesting.
On the whole memo and fight and all that, that subject 2 I told you about that popped up yesterday. There's another guy. He actually has it under contract, but he only got one of the owners to sign it, and it's for less than what was owed on the property. And he threatened us. There's a person involved that has the owner daughter has power of attorney for him. Mentally, he's not competent enough to do that kind of stuff. And they were pissed when they found out, because the children talked to this wholesaler, told him, leave my dad alone. We might want to sell. We're trying to figure some stuff out, but leave my dad alone. And he goes over there anyway, gets a contract signed by their dad. And then he tries to pull, hey, well, you have to sell to me. I have this contract. And they were telling me all about this. I said, well, send it to me. I'll look at it. I was like, look, I'm not an attorney, but first of all, your daughter has power of attorney for him for a reason. Second of all, he only has one of 4 owners' signature on this contract. Like,
dude, if you bring up elder abuse to that title company, they have to report it by law to whichever title company that he has that contract through. They can't close that.
What?
Elder abuse is a real problem, man. You cannot take and coerce an older person into signing a contract. Real lawsuits happen over that shit.
Well, that, and all that did when he tried to like force them, when he forced his hand, like, hey, I had this contract signed. They were already kind of mad at him, but that's when they just shut off all contact with him. They were like, screw you, dude. Like, and that, they were receptive to us. But.
So why do you think I'm wrong, Corey?
I don't even know what the fuck elder abuse is, and you're sitting here talking about it, and I'm not sure I feel comfortable, because to me, elder abuse is hitting an elderly person.
Dude, if you coerce, so I may be wrong about the legalities of the title company. I know title companies can and do report that.
We lost you.
So can you hear me, Larry?
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer. Look into that. But I know title companies do and can report that. If you are coercing an older person into signing something that's not mentally capable of signing that paperwork, it can be challenged in court. It's not a good situation.
I don't know the realities of it, but I know if you tell a title company that, hey, this person is mentally not competent, I have power of attorney, they're going to be extremely cautious, if not outright like, hey, we don't want to touch this.
Yeah. Yes. All of that is true. We have a contract still out in Waco right now where they had to take a brother into the court system to get a guardianship, and it's drug out, and they contact us every so often like, hey, are y'all still interested in the house? This is where we're at in the process. It's been 9 months for them to get guardianship of a brother that doesn't have the mental capacity to sign that he wants to sell, right? That shit happens. It happens a lot. But I'm not the judge and jury on elder abuse. Like, I don't need nobody, like, I wasn't there when the dude signed. I'm not going to go into a title company and be like, they're abusing the elderly. You want to know why? I don't want that karma on me. I don't want somebody telling somebody, Corey's over here hitting old women. Like, because that's what it sounds like in my head. It's not like if I go to somebody and they're like, yes, I want to sell, and I have no idea what their mental capacity is, and I get them to sign, and Jason Witherspoon comes behind, and it's crazy day for this person. They're just fucking not on their meds, and they're absolutely insane. And he's like, oh, man, this person doesn't have the mental capacity to sell. Corey, the other contract holder, is in fault. No, man, people are fucking perfectly fine right now.
I'm not disputing that. My grandmother had dementia. She had dementia at the end of her life. Some days she had really clear days. Everything was 100% right, and some days where everything was 100% wrong. She was not the person we all knew. Terrible situation. I just said while you were fuzzing out, I'm not a lawyer. I just know that there is liability in those situations.
I dealt with it. I had a legal.
I'm not even going to tread on it. Like, you want that bad boo-boo in your life, you put that bad boo-boo in your life. You go to a title company with snitches.
I would report the title company, but what I would do is
I'm not saying you as a wholesaler or title person go report it. So that's what it sounds like. I'm saying the relatives, if they go and say, like, what are you doing?
The children, yeah.
My dad signed this title work and he is not mentally capable. It's going to be a problem.
It is not going to be a problem. What, why would that be a problem for me? I go to their.
It's not a problem for you. It's a problem for your contract.
No, he's having a great day. He's having a great day, and he wants to sell. And we contract it. We take it to the title company. Now, angry kids go to the title company and say, "My dad doesn't have the mental capacity to sell." Why am I a criminal for elder abuse?
In general, you're not, but case by case, like in this case. The kids, because they had told him, stay away from our dad. He's not, my sister has power of attorney.
Right.
Competent. So in that case.
I get that.
In general, I see what you're saying, because I was in that position. I won't deal with elderly people. If I can help it, I want to deal with their children, because I had a situation talking to a lady who was like 80. I didn't realize how old she was, but mentally she seemed fine. forgetful of a couple little things, but she seemed totally coherent and fine when I talked to her on the phone. We set an appointment. That was on a Wednesday. Set an appointment for a Saturday. Called on Friday afternoon to confirm the appointment, and I got her granddaughter on the phone. And the first words out of her mouth was like, "My grandmother has dementia." And I was just like, "Oh shit." All of a sudden I'm going to get accused of that was her first words out of her mouth. I just said, "Look, ma'am," I said, I had no idea. Like, I talked to your grandma. She seemed fine. She goes, "No, I believe you," because she had a really good day on Wednesday, like Spoon was talking about.
Right.
She goes, "Well, we do want to sell, and we're still good for the appointment." But she goes, "If my grandmother wouldn't have talked to you, I wouldn't have set the appointment." And then when I met her on Saturday, the granddaughter and the grandmother went to the house, and the grandmother was having on Saturday, it was obvious she had issues. 2 days before, it wasn't. So I see what you're like. You can, but that put me to where that little scenario made me very sensitive to dealing with elderly people in general. If I can, maybe I'll talk to them, but I want to get their children involved. I'm trying to protect myself. I don't want anybody to ever accuse me. I don't want to be put in that position again, even accidentally, like not even knowing any better. If I can, I try and get their children involved and just make sure they know what's going on. But
so I've got to run. Why do we always get our good arguments started right at the end, Corey? We got to swap it up and get them. So my only point is, this guy's holding the contract over Larry's head with another title company and saying, "I got the contract." He's holding it over those kids' head. If those kids go to that title company is going to be like, "Whoa, we probably don't want a part of this." Is my guess. I don't know. Because he didn't have the right to sign the contract with them. That's my guess. That's all I'm saying.
You're probably right, but you started talking about criminal stuff, and I was like,
I'm not saying it's criminal. I don't know if it's civil or anything. I just know that it can be reported because I know of a specific case where it was by a title company where they went to a nursing home and coerced somebody to sign something that was not mentally capable of doing it, and the family came back on it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not a lawyer. You'll have to figure that out. With that said, you should ask Larry what his biggest hits are doing the kind of work he does, because these deals that he does is typically a larger spread than a lot of wholesalers get on their deals.
Are you saying Larry's rich and single?
No. Larry owns like 97 businesses or something. He's like the man of the hour in Houston, Texas. So
he's like super rich and single.
I don't know.
Larry for marriage right now, Spoon?
Plugging him for what?
Y'all want to come on my mega yacht?
Yeah.
I just saw he had megacred.com. He just signed up.
Get you a nice magazine cover. Man. You get another for $29 a month if you. I mean,
I saw that post that you did on that. That just I don't know if you remember. I replied to that because there's certain people. I'm not going to name any other names. But he was on my radar. It's like something just doesn't seem quite right.
Well, I mean, here's the top 100 magazine. So anytime somebody says they're featured in a top 100 magazine, just know that you can too for $29.95. You know, it's these days. It's not even fun anymore. Once like the scab gets picked off of it, and you realize that 90% of the people that you know are fucking being ambiguous on the internet, they don't have any backup. Yesterday in the Facebook group, somebody was like, "You can't take advice from people that aren't millionaires or haven't done whatever." And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all, because I can learn from the worst person on my team just as well as the best person on my team. I can learn something from them every day. And I mean, hell, DJ's living proof of that.
Hey, but I'll see y'all guys later. Take it easy.
See you.
Somebody was like, "Is Corey a millionaire?" Like, we're in his group, like, "Is Corey a millionaire?" And I was thinking to myself, I was like, I don't actually know if we are or aren't. You know what I mean? I know the daily struggles we go through. Yeah. It's all bigger problems every day, but I don't know if we are or not. So I went over to Jacob's computer. I was like, "Hey," and he had TFMB up, and I just seen at the top it was like $2.2 million worth of notes, and I was like, "Oh, well, we might not be a millionaire, but we at least got $2.2 million worth of debt with one bank. So whatever that's worth."
Yeah, I think I saw something about that, and it's like, you know, it's like I do these weekly phone calls with Skip Genie. I know a lot about skip tracing and do some different things, but I'll get some newer people or people that maybe they're not that new, but they don't do a ton of deals. They're definitely not millionaires. I might learn some little nugget from them that I'm like, man, I never even would have thought that was even possible. Like buying somebody's beneficial interest out of a will. I'd never heard of that. And when I heard that, I'm like, now that makes sense. I like all of a sudden the will start just little things like that. How can you? I'm trying to think of some other instances, but things come up. It's like I'll take info if it's good info. I don't care if you owe 200 grand. Net, that's your net worth is negative 200 grand or what. Anybody can have a good idea or know something you don't know. But
well, I just find the conversation interesting because so many people, they want to. I don't know what they want. I guess they want to be Gary Vee or Grant Cardone without doing the work that Gary Vee or Grant Cardone did. You know what I mean? They just want to show up on stage and speak and get everybody all hyped up without any actual substance behind it. And that's their business. That's their fucking business. Like you said earlier, Gary Vee says you can't build the if you want the biggest building in town, build the biggest building in town. Don't try to tear everybody else's down. Well, don't try to fake the biggest building either. Like, because everybody's going to see, that's not a real building, bro. That's a big ass poster. Like, you just put a poster of a building up. No, man, it's a building. It's a building. It's a poster of a building, sir.
There's so much fake crap and fake personas out there. And I'm skeptical by nature. I see so many newer people or just, they might be that new. I just see so many people on social media that they buy this BS, man. I don't know. They just don't have a good radar for it or what. And
I don't know either. I'm like, and for me, I mean, my first experience was a couple of older people got took to the cleaners. Not only got took to the cleaners, they had like $40,000 or $60,000 saved up. They were Jewed out of their 40, and then their mentor at the person that they paid the 40 to told them to leverage their free and clear house. They're like 70 years old. Told them to leverage their free and clear house to buy an RV park. And I didn't know about that. So the first time they come, they're like trying to wholesale at 70 with a $40,000 education. The next move that their mentor told them to make was leverage their house to buy an RV park. So they did it. And then they couldn't pay their mortgage and sustain the RV park. So they were selling their house, and they called us to see if we wanted to buy their house so they could just live at the RV park and run it because they couldn't pay both bills. And I was like, man, like I wouldn't want to be there at 70. You know what I mean? Like that wouldn't want to be that. I wouldn't feel good about taking some 70-year-old people's 40 grand to teach them how to wholesale when I know what it takes to wholesale. And I'm not saying you can't do it at 70. You can most definitely do it at 70, but you can do it at 70 a lot better with a $40,000 marketing budget than you can with paying me 40 grand and then having to leverage your house to do anything. Like that's a bad business plan.
People. I'm not saying I know a lot about anything or I'm an expert or anything. I mean, I'm pretty knowledgeable about a couple of things, but people talk to me about doing coaching before, like, 5 or 10,000, 20, whatever.
Right.
I've had people offer me they want to come down, hang out at the office for 2 days, or me go to their office, get them set up. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. My conscience, because that may be the last 5,000 or the last 10,000 somebody has or whatever. I don't want that on my conscience at all. Like I'm confident the information I give them is valuable and it can help them, but maybe they're just not the right fit. Maybe they're not going to act on it. And I can try and vet them to make sure it's the right type of person, but ultimately I don't.
My deal with all of that is it slows you down. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, the second component of that is I don't want that commitment because now I'm committed to ensure that what I like and I enjoy and I don't mind as far as commitment is every Wednesday night at 7:00, I get on my weekly call with the Skip Genie guys. I'll stay on until midnight. I don't care. But if you have a bunch of individuals that you've promised and committed time to now and they've given you all this money, I feel compelled and I feel on the hook to take those phone calls while I'm trying to do my own thing. I'm like, no,
that's exactly like when it comes to long-term coaching. Like I go to events, went to Max Maxwell's event, had a great time. We're going to wholesaling this weekend. Those kind of things. I think would be a part of any of that stuff for anybody. You know what I mean? But I don't want, if you're paying me 10, 20, I had somebody offer me $100,000 to hold your hand across the deal. Now, the only way I can justify doing that amount of coaching for you is to give you a deal that I generated. You know what I mean? Yeah. Here, which is cutting me $100,000 short or $60,000 short, or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm cutting food out of my own belly to give you a really good deal that you can execute on. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to give that up.
And that's I'm glad you brought that up, because I've dealt like the guy I partner with, or, Will, we partner on a lot of stuff. He's done coaching in the past. He won't do it anymore. He's like, it's a distract, you lose your focus and it diverts from your business. Guys that have done 2,000 deals like Brad Chandler, he was trying to do some coaching, and he knows he's done 2,000 deals. He knows some stuff about some stuff. Yeah. I don't know if he's doing any coaching now, because when he was trying to ramp that up, some things were happening in his business that started slipping a little bit. So he may be doing some, but I know he's backed off of it. So what happened? Anybody that's watching this or sees this, if you see anybody that's just constantly promoting coaching and mentoring, unless it's like a business, I hear a lot of people do investor carrot. I think there's different levels, or clever investor. I think there's different levels to it, but it's maybe $5,000. But they have a business. That's his business. He does some investing, but he has a business, and I've heard different things about it. It may be legit.
The only guy I've ever talked to that did investor or clever investor paid for a $600 online package, right?
Yeah.
And he definitely got his $600 worth, because he ended up on the phone with me off a bandit sign, asking the right questions. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing I asked him. I was like, wait, you've gone to a class, you've gone to a course, you've gone to a seminar. Whose was it? What'd you pay? He's like, oh, it's a clever investor online deal. I paid $600. Oh yeah, you got your money's worth. Because
I think there's a place for that stuff, but it's just when I see people that they're constantly trying to pitch their coaching and mentoring, and there's somebody that has a big Facebook group, and he puts so much time in this group, nickel and diming people every which way he can. I'm like, your business must not be going that good if you've got so much time to try and nickel and dime over little crap in this group. I'm not gonna say the name. It's a big group. Everybody knows it. And I just look at it from a distance, and that tells me a lot about where his business is. If he's trying to, what he's doing in the group.
I think there's a time to turn that stuff on. Like I think once it gets to a certain level, it's really easy to turn that on and it be passive, right? Like there's a company, and they came after they knew what they were doing. They came after me. They came after, at first I was like flattered. I was like, oh man, you thought of me. But I didn't use their shit. You know what I mean? Like, I use Skip Genie. That's why I tag Skip Genie.
I got no problem when you built something here, and I've got no problem.
But I was like, this person came in and just offered me straight up cash.
Yeah.
I mean, like, hey, I'm going to pay you right now today, money, and then I'm going to give you an affiliate link, and we're going to build it out and all this kind of stuff. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, well, I don't use your stuff. One. Yeah. Two, do I want to use your stuff? Is it going to, you know what I mean? Is it going to really improve my business? Could I handle more business right now? And the answer is I'd have to hire people. Well, I don't even have an office built yet. So I'm going to hire somebody. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm just looking at it and I'm like, that money, a few $1,000 up front, and the potential of getting a portion of everybody's monthly payment that they pay to it to pimp your stuff on a schedule that you're going to dictate to me. You know what I mean? You're going to tell me how much I've got to promote it.
Trying to turn you into one of their affiliate whores.
Yes, I was like, man, I'm not interested. Now there was another app out there that I like the owners. Like I think their business model is genius because they did it the right way. They gave enough they'll give it to anybody off the street can get but it's kind of like, I don't want to say a pyramid, but it's kind of like an MLM almost. You know what I mean? The way that their app works, they give away a lot of the price. Now I don't use their app because I use another app, but I think that business model to get people to talk and promote your business and giving up a portion, saying I'm going to give up 10% or 20% of the entire sales to get people to push it for me. I think multi-level marketing type marketing works because people will go after that. Your everyday person will go after that. They'll recommend their 5 friends. They might only make $20 a month, but it's $20 a month. But with the big guys, and I don't want to say the biggest because when if Gary Vee wants to turn on an affiliate link tomorrow, it's going to pay him a lot of money.
Yeah.
Grant Cardone, it's going to pay him a lot of money. Some of the other guys, they can make a lot of money. I mean, if they've got a 200,000-300,000 person following, it's probably worth it to turn it on. But if you're sitting at like me, a 12,000 person group, and maybe all over all platforms, maybe there's 20,000 people, but probably not. They're probably the same people over and over again. So let's just call it 12,000. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to try to nickel and dime, go to Skip Genie and say, hey, Skip Genie, give me an affiliate link and, I'll pimp your stuff it's not worth it. You know what I mean? It robs from the value of the group. For me, robs from the value of the group because it's not sincere. It's not.
And I got no issues with people making money. It doesn't bother me at all. But when you're contradicting yourself, I'm just here to help you guys, blah blah blah, and then you're not disclosing that you're making money. It's like, hey, these guys are the best. Then you post your affiliate link, and then you block and there's a group I can't post in because there's an arrangement made with another one of these pop-up services.
There's a lot of groups you can't post in.
Yeah,
you just don't know yet.
Yeah, and it's because, and I'm like, so you say you're only here to help, and I know for a fact I've given more free, valuable information in this group than any of these other guys involved, quote unquote, skip tracing. I've given out videos of how to. He almost shut it down. How to go in and research your county clerk's records to pull different types of leads for free. Hey, it came up randomly, and then when I realized somebody needed some help, I'm like, hey, I've got some old training videos I did for a VA. I'll send you a link. No strings attached, no nothing. I just wanted to help. I've seen this girl. She's hustling. I've seen her on Facebook. But here you go. And then a bunch of other people said, hey, can you send it to me? And I'm like, man, I was like, this probably is useful because a lot of people don't know how to do this. And basically, it got shut down in another group because it didn't want me taking up that bandwidth in the group. I'm like, how can you say you're trying to help people? I'm giving a step-by-step, a video of how to do something that a lot of them need. I'm like, what? It just that kind of stuff pisses me off. You disclose they approached you, Hey, I personally don't do affiliates because I want to be able to. Anytime I mention, I don't want anybody to ever think I'm like on our Skip Genie calls or whatever. I don't want them to ever think there's a profit motive involved with me. I'm like, hey, I qualify everything. I use it and I like it, or I haven't used it, but I've heard good things, or I would check this out, that kind of thing. And that way I'm untainted.
Same way. I had a guy come in and he did some cold calling for us. And so somebody asked in the group, who we were using to do the cold calling. And I was like, hey, we're using this company. We've had good results. Here's our stats. Here's what they did. And he got a ton of business off that, like a bunch of people, get business. And so he messaged me and he was like, hey, what's your PayPal? I'm going to send you I'm going to send you some cash for that drop. And I didn't even send him my PayPal because for me, it's like, I don't want to be tied to you in that way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want that association right now. Now, is there a time and place whenever that would make sense? I think so. You know what I mean? But I think too many people take the bait too soon, and then it robs from where they could get if they just stayed doing real estate deals. Yeah. If you just buy and sell real estate at a massive level, you've got free content because now you've got new title issues to talk about. You've got new seller negotiations to talk about. You got new issues with lenders like we're going through right now that we're going to be talking about tomorrow that we're having to just move money around because one guy didn't close. You've got all this new stuff to talk about if you're out doing deals. If you're not doing deals, guess what? You got the first 100 deals to talk about, and you can only beat them into the ground for so long. They can only carry you so far, and now you've got to talk about this new marketing company that you're using, but you're not really using them because you don't even want to really do real estate, because now you're making $5,000 or $10,000 a month, and it's rocked you to sleep. And $5,000 and $10,000 a month ain't enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just.
Oh, that's exactly right. Because I couldn't make enough to the little bit of money I could make off affiliates. It's just not worth it. And I know exactly what you're talking about, because I had a company. They're good service. I have no issues with them, and I've referred a lot of our customers. I said, hey, I would check them out. I've looked at it. It looks solid. I haven't used it. I'll get around to doing a trial account, but it looks solid. Did a demo call with them. And I never set up an affiliate account. And then they're emailing me saying, hey, we need you to fill out this IRS form so we can cut a check to you. It was like $200 or $300. I know I've driven some business to them, and they're trying to give me an affiliate check. I'm like, I never asked for it. Well, I'm not messing with it. But you get to a certain point, there are guys, I know a couple of them, they make a crap ton of money off affiliate fees, but they have a huge audience, and they're not doing it. It's pretty well disclosed, and there's a time and place for it. But one more example, I'm not going to mention any names. You did a post about loyalty not too long ago too. I love Propelio. I love those guys. I like what they do, their model, everything. That's why I like being associated with them. Somebody that they helped kind of get a name. Now I can't prove it, but all signs point to me has an affiliate account with a competitor, Propelio, and they're pushing that.
It does. Absolutely does.
Pushing that in the group they have. Well, I saw that. I'm like, are you shitting me? I'm like, you're pushing this other service after what Propelio has helped you do, but whatever.
Well, I see that. I see it. And I'm on the other side of it too, because I get those offers. I get those offers all the time. You know what I mean? And you want to be, a lot of people want to get around the right people. That's, everybody talks about it all the time. Oh man, got to get around the right people. Got to get around the right people. And I do believe that. I do believe that you got to get around the right people. People that have gone out like you and made a company like Skip Genie, Daniel, Chad Moore, somebody that makes something like Propelio. That's a grassroots thing. You know what I mean? You take your own capital, or you go find somebody else's capital to build it, to fill a need in a market, and way ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? Way, 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 way ahead of the curve. Somebody comes along and builds what they perceive as a better wheel, right? Yeah. They tack on a few more services, but for guys like us that understand the backside of that know that, you know, lists are coming from CoreLogic, where Propelio's lists are coming from actual data. At least in Texas, they're coming from actual county records as it's filed from VAs. So the speed of your list is a lot faster than if it's coming from CoreLogic. All of these things that we know, you know what I mean? Because we know where the data is aggregated. We know that REI Pro and List Source and all these, we know where they're getting their data from. We know how they're aggregating their data. This other competitor is aggregating their data from the same place. I mean, there's nothing that special about the data unless it's free or unlimited, or, you know what I mean? All these things. And it might have a place and can help a lot of people. But for me, I'm not going to use it because it doesn't have a place in my business. If I ever get a need and get, you know, maybe I try it. But when I seen that, I was like, man, you know, there's a time and place for everything, but I wouldn't take the bait this early in the game.
Yeah.
For me, you know what I mean? Like, it just wouldn't be worth it. Like, I would rather help grow Propelio into a, you know what I mean? Like, I would rather ride or die with them and help them execute ideas, help them get it in front of more people. Because back in 2016, when we were struggling in this business, Propelio is the reason why we became this. You know what I mean? Like, they are the people that brought me together with a Larry Higgins, that brought me together with the right group of people. So I'm ride or die Propelio, no matter what goes on, because I mean, I just, you know, I'm a little person.
Just quick story on how I've linked up with Propelio. So I've had Facebook since 07, 08, somewhere in there, but I never used it. I mean, I had it. Basically, I just see what my friends were up to. I never posted. I didn't know jack about Facebook. And then it's like, okay, we're starting Skip Genie. I'm like, crap. I need to start use Facebook. And we built Skip Genie off a podcast and Facebook basically for free, getting it up off the ground. But I just started friend requesting all kinds of people, and anybody I'd see, like people would reply to like an ad for like Kent Clothier, anybody that had a real estate interest. I was just friend requesting left and right so I could start sharing these podcasts and different things.
Right.
And somehow I did a friend request with Daniel. And then Daniel messages me. He's like, hey, I see you do podcasts. Do you want to come on the show? I'm like, what show? So I go look on Daniel's Facebook. I see Propelio. And I'd seen Propelio. I was familiar with it, but I didn't know exactly what all they did. And I see they'd gone out and built out this little studio. I was like, these guys went all in on Facebook. I was like, that's freaking cool. Yeah. I was like, hell, let's do it. I didn't know. I was like, shit, yeah, man, let's do it. And that's how we connected. It was just a random friend request. He looked and saw I did podcast, invited me up there, and just took it from there. That was 2 years ago.
Yes. And we found Daniel in a 1 weekend mastermind that we paid an attorney to teach us sub 2. And they, one of the guys there, I call him Creepy Sean. He mentioned Propelio and appointment of substitute trustee list, and that was it. We were doing our own research. We signed up. We've been a subscriber ever since. Daniel was ahead of the curve on building that studio and getting content into the marketplace. It's just been fun to watch. You know what I mean? Like that, getting that content into the marketplace to anchor the business, to make it where now a stranger is going to promote you because now I can show you how to do a water list with a Propelio video. Hey, where did you learn that? Oh man, I learned it from them. But during that time period of 2016, information was not freely given. It wasn't, it was terrible. You know what I mean? It was really, really hard to get information. It was in passing that Daniel Chad Moore told me about Slaw broadcasts and ringless voicemails. You know what I mean? But at that point, we didn't have a place to get data. So we knew about ringless voicemails a full year before we could actually get enough data to make it feasible. The business has changed. It's everywhere now. Not only is ringless voicemail everywhere, but everybody has their own ringless voicemail software that they're selling. Everybody has their own data that they're selling. Everybody has their own text blast that they're selling. Like the technology curve from when Propelio started and Skip Genie started till now, it's a crowded marketplace. But that's free market economy.
Yeah.
There's a problem. People are going to solve that problem. I was this close to white labeling a Driving for Dollars app. I wanted a Driving for Dollars app that solved my needs, and it was available. And then it went away, and I wanted it back. And so I was reaching out, and I was like, hey, I really want to do this. Like, I really want this app available to me, but I don't want to compete with you. Like, it would be like an affiliate link. You know what I mean? Essentially, but it was to solve my own selfish need of wanting that app. Yeah. Once Propelio came out with theirs, I don't need it anymore. You know what I mean? Like Propelio solves my problem from a Driving for Dollars app standpoint, because all I need is addresses, because I'll go get the data from Skip Genie, or I'll go get the data from a data pen company. You know what I mean? Like depending on what goal we have layers that we use it. And that's how we do it. Like that's
when I first talked to Daniel, when he was first telling me about, hey, we're doing a Driving for Dollars app, I was like, oh shit, this ought to be cool. And he just flat out said, he's like, it will be the best Driving for Dollars app out there, period. Like, he's not saying it cocky or anything. He's like, that's how they do that. They want to have the best based off of their track record. I'm like, I believe him. And already just this, they're still doing all kinds of improvements and different things. But just the ease of use, the interface, and everything that they're going to have, they haven't really said anything yet. But they have that skip trace option in the app. I've tested it. Like we're working on linking everything up, but you can actually run your skip tracing in the app now with it's our data coming back. There's some things I need to talk. There's some things to improve there, but just they have gone. I feel sorry for the other Driving for Dollar apps. They're going to take a hit at their price point. If it's free if you're with Propelio. If you're not, it's like $20 a month. And just the value there, it's going to exceed everything else out there on the market. So,
well, and that's the thing. Like Daniel took took our complaints from using other people's apps and listened to them and packaged it up. Now he's going to have to take the complaints from us on using his app. You know what I mean? And we got them, like, believe me. But the biggest thing is he'll listen to them. You know what I mean? We'll go to him and we'll sit down. Like right now, we're using it. We're using it almost every day. And we're going to work the bugs out, because we'll go back to Daniel and say, Daniel, we hate having to do this every single time. Can you change the interface? And he'll say, well, that's going to be hard, but we'll try to get to it eventually. Or, yeah, that'll be simple. You know, we'll get that out on the next version. It's a huge difference from, different companies that just they have a good product. They feel like it's perfect, you know what I mean, and everything else. But that's just my own opinion. Like, one of the things that Driving for Dollars at Propelio does is it tells you where all you've already been. You know what I mean? It puts them on the list, and you can go back to the list and
the list so you can create a driving route and all that. And I don't know if that's active yet, but
that hadn't came out yet. But when that does come out, I mean, that's directly from the Broke Corey hustle. You know what I mean? Like back when we get started, like I would drive and knock Propelio leads, knock Propelio doors off the appointment and substitute trustee list. Jacob would sit down in Houston. He would take the Propelio list that came out every day. He would upload it into Google Maps. Okay, send me a link to the map, and I would drive that route and door knock. Okay, while I'm driving that route and door knocking through Google Maps, like on my phone, just boop boop boop, old school, I would door knock and I'd put out bandit signs, and I would write down the addresses of all the vacant or tore up houses, the ones that were really bad.
Your message. Ready to send.
Okay. So anyways, I don't know why Siri just tried to text a message, but anyways, so we would do that, and like it was successful. And I talked to Daniel about it. I was like, man, this really changed our business. This is what we were doing with your data, or have been doing with your data to make it work for us. This is why we're winning with your data when other people are losing. We would take a FedEx folder. If we didn't get into, if they weren't there at the house, we'd have our letter in the FedEx folder and we'd leave it on their porch. And, so the next investor wouldn't come up and rip off my door hanger, because we didn't have any success with door hangers. And all of that was stuff that we learned from, Daniel's webinars or whatever, but, implementing it and putting it on a driving route. And, now we've got it in the app, can do it. And I mean, it's just a complete and utter game changer, because it's so practical for the person that's like I was in 2016 with a minimal marketing budget, but a huge appetite for success. You know what I mean? That will take action on it every single day.
My story would need to do like that. When he told me about that feature, being able to upload the list, I'm like, man, that would have helped. Because back when I first got started, like I had all this return mail, and to skip trace, all I knew was there was a guy I could pay like $50 a lead to skip trace. And I'm like, well, shit, I had like 200 and something pieces of return mail. Again, I'm green. I don't know anything about. I'd barely even heard the term skip trace. I'm like, I can't afford to spend $50 on 200, almost 300 addresses. Like, how do I prioritize these? I'm like, I'm going to drive by and see which ones really are vacant, what's going on. So I'd have to create a list. And I remember using, I guess at the time, Google Maps. You try and find the most optimal route to drive all these, but just having it in an app now is like, just upload it. You're done. Yeah.
So yeah, we used Drive Near Me or Drive For Me to optimize the route. It was some stupid jankety app.
Yeah.
All that stuff that we did at the beginning that is now custom tailored, that Propelio is custom tailored in their Driving for Dollars app, is going to be unbelievable. The other thing that you brought up there was the return mail. They now have, I don't know if it's Yellow Letter, somebody has a software out now where you get a scanner, a scan gun, you get your return mail back, you just boop, and it takes the information off the return mail and puts it onto a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So it's in CSV form. You can then upload that into Skip Genie and skip trace them all. So if you're doing direct mail and you don't have that gun or app or whoever's got it out, I mean, you're really missing out, because, when we would get return mail, you knew what we had to do. You had to go through it manually.
Yeah.
Now you just return mail stack and bang, 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 bang.
Technology and the way it's been applied to real estate in the last 2 or 3 years for every little issue. It's just, advanced so rapidly. Like it's so easy. Yeah, I remember I had Chris Chico on our weekly Skip Genie calls, kind of a guest a few months, 3 or 4 months ago, and just he's been at this for like 15 years. I don't know if you know Chris, but good guy, knows his stuff. He basically invented the term virtual wholesaling, but he's been at the forefront. Just to hear him talk about stuff they did like back in 2005. He was one of the first people to really do like a mill merge on a postcard. But he talked about some of the to where generally it was just like it didn't reference a name or a specific address, but he would put the owner's name and an address. Just a little tweak like that, something we totally take for granted. But he thought, I forgot everything, but just some of the technological, everything that's progressed since he started. Google Maps, being able to look at a house on Street View, something that simple. Yeah, I take that for granted. I look at everything on Street View. So.
Or the satellite view where you can see the pool is turned black. You know what I mean? Like you got dead trees, you can see roof damage. It's like
it's all in our fingertips. It's in hell just being able to have these now. Everything that comes. We're talking about apps. They weren't even half of these weren't available 5 or 6 years ago, or probably more than that. Probably 80% of them. It's
no doubt.
There's a solution for every problem out there.
Yep. Except the excuses you're making on why you can't be successful. There's no solution for that. That comes from within. Everybody that's right now, oh man, this is hard. It's never been easier. Like you got to go get it. But Larry, we've been going for 2 hours. I've got stuff I got to go do. I know you probably got some stuff you got to go do. Yeah. I appreciate you being a part of the Vegas Mastermind. I'm gonna need to get some info from you and dial it in a little bit. I'm about to start creating some ad copy or paying somebody to create some ad copy. I really want this event to be like this conversation. You know what I mean? Like I want new people to get around the right people that will help them moving forward. You know what I mean? With all their little issues, because last night I went to a networking event. I talked with a family that we've actually got $200,000 of their money borrowed. I didn't know that until like 8-9 months ago, but they finally retired. And they're getting out there, and they want to flip a house so bad. And I'm like, I get it, but numbers you're telling me that ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, cut them like this, make this offer, because you need 5 more deals behind it, and that's why you won't make this offer. You know what I mean? If you make this offer, you can sleep at night knowing that if that flip don't go well, you're still gonna be able to make money renting it.
Yeah,
but getting desperate and raising your offer $15,000 a day, you know what I mean? Like, don't do that. Do not do that. Don't make that mistake. Like, listen to me, but just explaining to them how the tonality of their offer should sound when they're in that negotiation. It's such a simple thing that I take for granted, because when I'm in a negotiation, my energy level's low. You know what I mean? Like, all the things that I've learned from my own mistakes, from listening to people like you and everybody else, they don't have it. But you get in a room with a guy like Larry, who's done a lot of deals, us that's done a lot of deals, Daniel that's done a lot of deals, Donnie that's done a lot of deals. Now, not only are we presenting ideas, but we're tweaking each other's ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're like, oh man, have you tried this yet? And I'm like, no, I haven't. And as a new person, there's going to be a new person that's going to pop up and be like, wouldn't it make more sense to say it like this? And we'll be like, yes. New guy that sees with a new perspective. And that's what I think the value of a mastermind is for me. You know what I mean? Because I get more out of that intimate setting. You know what I mean? Those after hours conversations than I do from the day-to-day stuff that you get into on a class or you know what I mean? Like a presentation.
I haven't done a lot of masterminds, but I have. I've always been like, I don't want to mess with that. And then there's been one that I've gone and presented to, like done stuff, just different talks on different things. It's Mike Hambright's investor field. Yeah, I'll say this, like, people do presentations, but the discussion after the presentations, or just having dinner with somebody, lunch, all the side conversations, you're exactly right. You pick up a lot. You got that whole mastermind thing that changed my perspective on it big time.
Well, I just like it. you know, ours is going to be a little bit different because I'm a little bit different kind of guy. It's not going to be a frat party that Spoon thinks it is. I didn't book that house because it had an orgy bed. I booked that house because it would hold the most people, and it's got a boxing ring. So if we get sideways, we can just go out there and put the gloves on. So, but anyways, no, I want to go out and I want to. The first day for me is going to be the best day, and it's Wednesday, and most people aren't going to be there, and that's why it's going to be the best because it's going to be intimate. We're going to be in a limo with a limo driver, and I already talked to the limo driver. He's cool as shit. He's got this big like Mack truck limo, and we're going to go out and try to find a deal. And I'm going to show, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to show exactly what we do whenever we're in a neighborhood in a town that we've never been in, and we're going to go pull data, and we're going to call them. You know what I mean? And we're going to go eat dinner. It's going to be that first day is going to be a really good day. You know, the actual R2R mastermind with y'all's help. That next day, and as long as y'all want to stay, y'all can stay. You know, it's just going to be fun. You know, we don't have all the details worked out yet, but I do know this: we got the right people coming to be in the room, and I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of it. Like, I'm going to give it my best effort and best shot. And this is all, you know, centered around GrowthCon because I bought tickets to the suite on GrowthCon so I could interview Grant Cardone. Like, I negotiated an interview with Grant Cardone if I bought a suite at GrowthCon. So, you know, it's like people are like, why are you having a mastermind? I'm like, well, you aren't really going to believe this, but I want to talk to a billionaire. You know what I mean? I want to talk to somebody with $1 billion worth of assets under management that have done what I want to do. And here's how I seen to get it done. And then now that I got this suite, I was like, well, I've obviously overpaid for this. I don't know what to do with it. And somebody brought it up and was like, why don't you have a mastermind and get your group members to come out there and be a part of it? And I was like, man, that sounds like an extremely good idea. But all the people that are going to be a participant in the mastermind are going to be also people like you, like Jason, Avi, that are heavy in Roughneck real estate that are doing deals. I mean, Avi yesterday, he's got deals in Wyoming. He's got deals in Kansas. He's got a deal in, I think, Maine. He lives in North Carolina. He owns these.
I messaged him randomly a couple of weeks ago. I was like, hey, man, because he said some good things about Skip Genie, but I've seen him. I'm like, I don't know exactly. I was curious. I'm like, what do you do? So I messaged him. I was like, hey, you got time to talk tomorrow? I just want to know what you do. Because I didn't know if he was doing mentoring or coaching, but he was just sharing. He shares a lot.
That's all he does.
Yeah, good dude. And he's pretty well dialed in on what he's doing.
Oh, man, he showed us something yesterday on yesterday's Facebook Live. He showed us how to dial in a YouTube ad. Because we're doing screen share. He walked me through it. My dumb ass that turned on a Google ad 4 months ago and it just fired off like yesterday or the day before, spent like $300. That he showed me like how to dial in an ad, and we're going to use that to rent our properties. Like we're going to shoot some pretty high quality videos for leasing our properties in the different little areas we're in where we're having trouble. And then we're going to put that YouTube ad on, and the video itself is going to cost more than getting the YouTube ad, but that's how we're going to go about. We're going to shoot a commercial for our rentals, and we're going to put it right there on the front of everybody's YouTube ad in the area where we're trying to rent properties. So
I never really thought about running YouTube ads to get tenants. Like, it just never would cross my mind. But
well, see, for us, we've got 57 doors. We've got 90 doors in that particular area, right? So it makes sense for us to do one good video and put it out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the YouTube platform. There's not a TV station out there, so you know what I mean, we're not going to be able to run those kind of ads. We were going to do radio, I wanted to do radio because I listen to a radio station when I'm out there, and we're still probably going to do it. But that's the only way to get the word out for us that, hey, this is who we are, this is what it is, and get that done for us. So we're going to do some things. Avi showed us how. He's trying to get a sitter so he can be a part of it. I really want him to be there. But these are all people that are in the group that are doing, giving away stuff for free, bringing massive value. The guy with the 2-day blueprint, Jason Palliser, him go back and forth all the time, but I love what he does. I mean, he's got a $10,000 2-week weekend project that literally is changing people's lives. I know people have gone to it. They speak highly of it. He's invited me to be a part of it. So, eventually here probably pretty quick, I'm going to go be a part of it because I like what the guy has going on. If somebody's going to pay for education, you want to make sure you can't go out and say don't pay for education if you're not going to provide that avenue for them to pay for it. There is that need in the marketplace. So if Jason has that system set up, is doing the deals, has built out that program, and it's working for people, I want to get behind it 100% because that's what people need. They need real good information. Somebody that's going to help them that wants to do that. It ain't me. I don't want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I got to.
God bless him because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do it. so Jason.
I would be doing everybody a disservice if I didn't get involved with something like that. I'm not for my own monetary gain, but just to have the people that want to pay me money be like, no, man, here I got. What do you need? Here's somebody to talk to.
It's like great. I love being able to connect them with the right people. Like somebody wants to know subject to and some stuff. I'm like, hey, and God bless Grant because I don't know if you've seen what he built out for his online stuff. He put a ton of effort. It's well thought out, well designed, in depth. Everybody that's seen him on Propelio amplify that and clean it up a little bit. It's a little bit more. I mean, God bless him because you couldn't pay me enough money to sit down and do what he did. Just the organization of that course.
I told him that the very first time we were at that Houston Propelio meetup.
Yeah,
you were there. I told Grant, I was like, man, bless you for having the patience to put that together. That is a hard. Like I don't have the mental capacity to do it. I just don't have the vision. Like I couldn't.
If I have to just sit down, occasionally I have to do PowerPoint slides for different presentations. I'm like a little kid with ADD, man. I will fight it. I don't it'll be the night before I'll make myself kind of like staying up all night to write a paper. Because I don't like having to map it all out and put that. I enjoy just free flow talking and answering questions. That to do an actual course, you couldn't pay me enough to do it like that.
Well, and that's the same way I am. Like I've got to build out a click funnel. I'm got a call with a guy. I'm trying to do it via text. I'm like, guys, we got to get on a call. I don't know how to do ad copy. Here's what I want the event to be, but I don't know how to translate that into ad copy. So those are talents that other people just have that I don't. But anyways, I got to jump off of here because I do got to get on that call.
Me too.
I love it though, Larry. I could talk to this speaker in front of my computer for 2 hours, but you've been way more fun.
No, man, we went by fast.
Yeah, and Spoon was here for an hour of it, and he left a while ago. So, anyways, I appreciate your time. I'll get you more information. Text me something more about that fishing trip. I'm ready. I need to know what I need. All I need. And do I need a Louisiana fishing license or?
I'll send out. I'll send out info on that. You will need it's like a $25, $30 license for 3 days. But I'll send a link and let y'all know that, and we'll be good.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it.
All right, man.
Later.
Bye.